I'm really excited to go and study religious studies and go to seminary so I can be a priest. I feel like that's what God wants me to do, and I feel like that's my purpose. How do you feel?
Definitely. No, I'm really, really glad that I chose religious studies because I'm really going to be able to dive into full Catholicism and really understand the religion and like totally dive in. I think that's what I'm meant to do.
Hold on, wait. That is not what religious studies is about. Religious studies studies all religions from an objective point of view. You can learn about everything from the world's biggest religions to the world's smallest religions and cults, and even religion and gender, religion and politics, and so much more.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Maybe we need to do a little more research on what we thought we were studying.
Definitely. Follow me.
Let me take you on a deeper dive on what it actually means to be studying religious studies. Religious studies is an interdisciplinary field where people study the religion and the cultural aspect to it and how it interacts with society as a whole. So what are their impacts? And they study not just one religion compared to theology, but they study a variety of religions and see how each kind of bounces off one another. A lot of celebrities have actually studied this. People like Shane Battier, who is in the Miami Heat, he studied religious studies. Rashida Jones from Parks and Recreation, and even Willard Scott from the Today Show. They have been shown to really help people get their minds together, gather their thoughts a little better, be able to write better speeches, be able to help and speak in front of a bigger audience. So religious studies doesn't just help you in one field. Like, it doesn't just mean you have to be connected to religion. You could be a lawyer and have a degree in religious studies. You could be an educator for primary or secondary schools. And most people who work on non-profit organizations and charities usually have a degree in religious studies. To further go off of that, the way that religious studies connect to higher education is the way that most people who are out there fighting for educational rights and all that, they have been studying religious studies to help them get to that point. So,
The Religious Studies Department is coupled with the Philosophy Department, and they are based in Withers Hall, right over there to the left. If you are taking religious studies classes, you can take multiple classes ranging from historical religion, Western religion, non-Western, advanced religion classes, contemporary religion, religion and gender, religion and politics, cults, anything from Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity, African religions, minority religions, as well as religions in America, Japan, Asia, Europe, anywhere around the world. And you can study all of the religious texts in all of these major and minor religions. Now you may be wondering, well, what is NC State doing about religious research here? Unfortunately, I was not able to find many current research projects here at NC State related to religious studies, but I did look into quite a few of the professors here, and they have some interesting work to show off. Dr. Bill Adler studies Christian documents in the Old Testament specifically and focuses on Christianity in Greek and Roman society in historical context. Dr. Mary Cunningham studies the relationship between Darwinism and Christianity, contemporary Christianity specifically, and the role of religious texts in religious practices today. And last but certainly not least, we have Xavier Pickett, who has done research on African American religions and the relationship of religion and politics here in the United States of America, with specific ties to the Black Lives Matter movement and Black Power. And finally, if you were to have a major in religious studies, what exactly would you study and how would it relate to higher education? Well, luckily, there are a million things you could study related to higher education and religious studies. A few being religion's effect on the pursuance of higher education, how higher education tests and changes one's religious beliefs, how religion affects career path or education path, the relationship between religion and secondary schools, and how classes and requirements in religious private universities may differ from secular or public ones.
So we were lucky enough to have the opportunity to speak with Dr. Levi McLaughlin, who is an associate professor of religious studies here at NC State. So Dr. McLaughlin began his career as a Japan Studies major at the University of Toronto, but when he got the opportunity to study abroad in Japan, it really changed his perspective. He spoke very vividly in our interview about the interesting experiences of the people that he met. He talked about a kamikaze pilot who became a Baptist minister, and just how these people's lived experiences were vastly different from his, inspired him to pursue research in religious studies and explore how religion affects people's experiences and how they view the world. So Dr. McLaughlin's research mostly focuses on Japan, and especially modern Buddhist movements and how they affect politics within Japan. And he spoke in a lot of interesting ways about how students here at NC State who study religious studies can actually apply the skills that they've learned to many different fields, and how he has used his trainings in ways that he didn't really expect.
I've noticed that our majors here tend to kind of diverge. There's going to be two basic types. There's folks who are very much aimed toward becoming religious professionals of some kind, going to seminary, becoming members of a clergy, very often Christian, mostly Christian, right? Not exclusively, but mostly. Or those who are super critical of religion, but in very constructive ways. Like they acknowledge that religion is an enormously important component of life. They're really interested in it, but they want to contend with it intellectually and otherwise. They tend to go off in all kinds of really they tend to get very, very good training in writing, thinking, rhetoric, historical research, ethnographic techniques, things like that. So they end up doing things like law school. They end up going to all kinds of other professional tracks, and they end up doing really well.
So in the interest of learning about how other people view religion and religious studies as a whole, we took it upon ourselves to speak with a couple of LDS missionaries here on NC State's campus. And here's what they had to say about religion's place in society and how learning about other religions can help us learn more about the world around us.
How do y'all think getting a degree in religious studies might better help y'all in y'all's religion or in y'all's mission?
And every day we talk to people from all sorts of different walks of life. We get to hear their beliefs, and I love it. I love seeing what people believe, what motivates them. So if you can learn more about their culture and try and find the truth, I think that will always lead to growth as a human being.
To take away, I was completely off on what religious studies actually was, but I will be taking religious study classes to help me get better at writing speeches, get better at having my own thoughts, and really dive into what I want to say to the public. And I think it'll really help me with my criminology major that I'm going to be pursuing. But it is not the study of a religion like I thought. It's not theology.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, and I would love to take some religious studies classes somewhere here in the near future. I've learned so much about all of the different professors here, all of the great research they are doing, and so much just about the department in general.
Speaking with Dr. McLaughlin was really enlightening in that regard, because he spoke so intelligently about how learning about other people's experiences that are different from your own can really change your perspective and even change your path.
Study religious studies today.
Study it now.
Woo!